Oh,
It was,
it was very quiet last night.
I'll bet.
I enjoyed reading Vicky Bardo's article in the paper this morning.
That was nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, singing our national anthem, and repeating the four-way test. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Get this to work. You see on the dawns, baby, what's so bright, baby, that the twilight's last gleam, with broad stripes and bright stars, it's fine. For the rainbows we watch, we're so gallantly singing. Let's repeat the four-way test. For the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? The fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better friendship,
Will build goodwill and better friendships.
beneficial to all concerned. Our invocation today was supposed to be by Walt Pickett, but he had some car trouble, so I'll do my best. In honor of Easter season, Easter Monday, may the grace of a risen Christ be with us this day. May this meal be blessed as we gather to celebrate together. May your love be shared amongst us as we enjoy the gift of fellowship. May we remember to give out the grace and forgiveness that you have freely given us. May our words and deeds today and always serve as reminders of the power of your love. Amen. Visiting Rotarians and guests, please welcome President-elect Ruth Lundeen.
Thank you very much, President John. So today we are real pleased to have visiting us, Collins Unite, right? Colin, you want to stand up? So Collins is one of the students at JCC who participated with us at the coldest night of the year. So glad to have you back.
Thank you, Ruth. Announcements. Books and Bibs fundraiser, just remind everybody, please sell your tickets. They should be all distributed. So do your best selling. If for any reason you don't think you could sell them, please bring them back in. We have others that are willing and able and happy to sell more tickets. So please, it's a great cause for a Books and Bibs fundraiser and push those ticket sales. May 8th, Lisa Bishop will have her official district visit here. She's the 7090 district governor. So we are encouraging good attendance on May 8th to support Lisa, and she'll give a quick presentation for us as well. Highway cleanup. We're looking at Saturday, April 22nd for the highway cleanup. It's Earth Day, so we figured that'd probably be a good day to get out there and clean up highways. We'll probably meet at 8:30 a.m. And then later than that. We'll see. We'll talk about it. What time do you think's a good time? 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
So we're looking at,
We'll be there at 9 o'clock, ready to go sharp. Yeah, we know that.
so Saturday, April 22nd, we're gonna do highway cleanup. And then we're looking at hands-on Jamestown. They're doing a cleanup Saturday, May 20th. We're looking at supporting that, and they give us the river bike path as they did last year, I think. So that would be our river cleanup. So we got a couple service cleanup projects coming up. And Ruth, announcements?
Thank you, thank you. So the first announcement is the Rotary Club of Jamestown Community Service Fund, also known as RCJCSF, will be having their quarterly meeting on April 18th at noon. And I'll have to check, and checking probably is going to be at the Gebby Foundation. So anyone interested in finding out, this is the nonprofit section of Rotary where we give away money. This is whenever we decide to give money, as in the gift of life, it comes from the foundation. So that leads me right into my second announcement, which is that the Vision Committee and the board are supporting a donation of $250 to the Gift of Life, which is a Rotary effort that sponsors medical facilities in developing nations to provide surgery for children in developing countries who are born with birth defects. So it started out as Rotary bringing people to Canada, children for surgery, and now it has expanded so that there's actually facilities in developing nations to help with these children, and they work on training the medical professionals also. So it's a wonderful organization, and we are supporting it with $250 from your funds that are raised in our fundraisers. And then the other thing is, some of you saw it when you came in. So they have a chocolate hearts for Mother's Day, and they are going to be, so these are chocolate hearts that are $10 each, and they are milk chocolate, dark chocolate, and they said they have a few orange chocolates left. They only cost $10 each. I will pick them up next Saturday at the conference meeting. So I encourage you, if you want to do it, I'm going to pass the envelope around. They said the cost of the chocolates went up significantly this year, but we kept the price the same. They're made by Platter's Chocolates on Niagara Falls Boulevard in Wheatfield. So if anyone is interested, like I say, I'll send the envelope back around. Please sign in, and if you can't put your money there, if you can't put down, just put down the IOU, and then I'll find you. But I basically need to know by Wednesday. And so this is going to be going around, but that also leads into my announcement about the district conference. I would still love both Marion, I believe Marion, you have room in your car, right? And I have room in my car. We would love to have Rotarians go to the conference on this coming Saturday. And I'm going to leave about 7:15, and Marion's going to leave at, 8 o'clock? And so we're going to stay there until after the activities. Actually, the meat raffle has been canceled, so I'll probably be coming back after the happy hour. So there will be a happy hour from 5 to 6, and Marion's coming back at 4. So please think about it, because it's not only hearing about the district, the activities of the district, but also then in the afternoon they have wonderful displays of what other Rotaries are doing for their service projects. So it's a wonderful chance to learn about what other Rotaries are doing, because there's over almost 70 Rotaries in our conference. So I really would love to see more people going with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill, would you be interested in doing a golf announcement? Well, Calvin.
So, we met recently. When did we, meet, Max? Last week? Yeah. So you should all be looking for an email from, Chairman Bird. He's asking for volunteers, to man tables and to man some other, special events, which depending on the response, will be included or not. In other words, we're going to first try and get the manpower for these things. And if we get the volunteers, then we'll hold extra fundraising events, Max, putting contests and things like that, not directly related to the golf tournament. So be looking out for that and please respond. Baskets. So, he's helping me right now. So we're going to try and put together some baskets. Now, as you know, Mike Roberts, Mike, welcome to the auction committee. Roberts well knows. The more people you get involved, the easier it is to get the donations, to get the prizes. So we've had a pretty paltry prize table the last several years. We have some stalwart donors who always give generously, but it's not the cornucopia of things that we once had. So we're trying to get each member to make one call or two calls. One call. Each member to make 2 calls to various friends, businesses, you know people, we're Rotarians. And just so we can get together an impressive and nice table of prizes that we'll probably put together in baskets and things like that. And then raise more money by having, by raffling them off. Any questions? Does anybody have any questions about my game or my stroke? Or mechanics?
What questions about your handicap? What is the date of the tournament?
The date of the tournament is July 17th.
Oh, it's in my schedule. Thank you.
Oh, and yeah, since you mentioned the actual event, every year it seems we don't put our field together until the day before the event. Mark off your calendars, forget about getting a better date for the prom, and just get a team together and sign up. Thank you.
Thanks for your inspiration there. We're trying to make the golf tournament our big fundraiser for the summer fall. So baskets, golfers, sponsors, all that good stuff. So thanks, Phil, for leading the charge there with that exciting announcement. And we're gonna have things for non-golfers as well. Sherry, do you have a youth services?
I do. Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, great. Ruth was talking about the district conference, and Yoa is going to be there also doing the parade of flags in the morning, and then they're spending the night. I'm going up on Saturday, but I really could use someone to go pick him up because he's spending the night and he'll be done at 4 o'clock on Sunday. And I'd prefer not to have to drive to Buffalo twice. So if somebody could pick him up at the Riverwalk on Saturday at 4, that would be terrific. If you want to just reach out to me, call me, email me something, I'd really appreciate it. Also, I wanted to let everybody know, I wasn't here last week to announce this. We still have no applications for Ryla Junior. That's the former Slap Shot program. And there's only 80 spaces available. I have sent out applications to all of the schools. I sent them out to Striders. But if anybody knows anyone who might be eligible, if they get their application into me very quickly, we might still be able to do that. The club has always been happy to sponsor 2 kids. And so the date of the actual in-person event that's going to be in Ancaster, Ontario is May 5th to the 7th. And then I think they have follow-up afterwards, but we need to get the applications in soon if they would like to go. The actual cutoff for the applications to the district is the 26th, but we need to have it so that we can approve them before it goes. So if you need any information on that, please contact me about that. And I think that's basically all I have right now. Yoa has now moved to his 3rd host family. He's staying with the Kidders. He just moved yesterday, so the Andersons passed off. He's done a lot of visiting and he has a lot of things going on, but his time is running short. So if you want to spend some time with him, certainly get a hold of me or Chris, and we can hook him up. And thank you to the Andersons and the Camas, who were his first 2 host families. He's had a great year so far.
Thank you, Sherry. Our new member induction today had to be postponed, so it's going to be rescheduled for April 24th. That was for Rita Freeborough. Please get your tickets ready for Dewey Jones, our 50-50 drawing.
Okay. So the winner will get $38.
38 to the winner.
You can see that a little better, John.
Last 4 are 9984. 9984.
Winner, winner.
Congratulations. Give a hand for our Sergeant at Arms, Mike Roberts.
Okay, Dewey's leaving early. So is Mark. See you, Mark. And Vicky left early as well. I collected dearly for them. I hope you all studied up on your polio stuff. Okay, good. But first we have a couple of newsworthy items. Amy, you were pictured. Oh no, don't reach for your wallet. You were pictured picking up a check 8,900 from VP Real Estate. So all the United Way board members will join in, and VP will join in kicking into the pot. And 49 donors. That's awesome. Well, while Amy's receiving checks, Kristen's giving away the entire house, $25,000. Sounds like a great project. It was a self-serve cafe at the hospital so that employees and patients and people, visitors, can get access to stuff 24 hours a day. Sometimes kind of nice when you're in the emergency room at 3 o'clock in the morning unexpectedly. So thank you very much, WC Foundation. We have no UConn grads. They won. I'm going to pay for the Masters. Many of you know or don't know. I have attended the Masters on several occasions with one of the best human beings I ever knew, my father-in-law, who passed away a couple of years ago. And that's a very special place for us. And congratulations, John Rahm, a Spaniard, winning on Seve Ballesteros' birthday. I am going to put in $1 because I read this morning that my member partner from 2017, and we won, of course, John Lamancuso, is running for mayor, along with taking over for his father, who I played in the Italian American for 25 years. John It's John L. and John I. John I is the current judge. No, it's John L. is the current judge, and he will be retiring at the end of the year. And John I is running for judge, and I'm going to support that completely. Judge, city court judge. Oh, no, member. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Robin's online. You guys are applying for $12 million grant, the BPU, it's for a microgrid. So good luck, Becky. We have Russ Dietrich threw in a Twinkie. Woo, woo. I think it's got probably something to do with opening day of baseball. But thank you, Russ. Chris Anderson. No. Okay.
Online.
He's online. Chris Anderson. Our friend Victoria, 35 years at filling the gap. For those of you that might or might not know, Chris runs the TRC golf tournament at Moonbrook Country Club on behalf of the Resource Center. And I am a member of that committee. So Chris, you'll kick in $1 for Vicky. And Denise, I'm sorry, Denise, I'm sorry. So you're gonna throw $1 towards the club on congratulating Victoria on 35 years. Okay, that probably runs through most of the list. Now we have a few questions. How about Dick Johnson's table? Dick, within 100 million, how much has Rotary donated towards polio pumps? Within 100 million. Man, it's like Jeopardy. You're running out of time here.
Say 2 billion.
Okay, I'm going to pay for that because it's 2.1 billion. You're right. Remember, if you get it right, I lose. So it's the new Rotary quiz question game. Diane, how many children? Within 250 million. I said within 250 million. I didn't say within billions. 3 billion children have been vaccinated. Don't look down. You're not allowed to look down. Just answer the question. What year, Marion, did Polio Plus start? What year? It started in a year. And we started in one country. It was a lot sooner than I thought.
Within a million years.
It's 1979, and the bonus question is where? The Philippines. Okay. Well, thank you, Vicki. Thank you to Russ, and thank you to Mark for your kindness. Study up on polio.
Thank you, Mike Roberts.
Dude. No. You got it right. Oh, okay.
Happy bugs. So I'll get started. First, many thanks to Ruth and Marion and Kirk for getting the survey and running the meeting. I heard it was a great meeting, so thanks for all your efforts on that. And got $1 happy buck for Jonah, May 1st. He will be presenting to our club, our International Exchange student, to kick off International Youth Services Month. And Esme will be joining us by Zoom. So it's another good meeting to attend.
My happy buck is in honor of our speaker today, who's one of my favorite people to work with on grant applications, presentations, reporting. There's no one more efficient or timely than Randall Perry.
My happy buck, and I saw him earlier, I don't see him now, is for helpful Rotarians. Tim Edborg, who came to our house with a chainsaw and helped us cut up a big limb that took out all our power and siding. So we're all back and up and running now, but thanks to Tim for doing that.
I also have to leave early today, so I got a couple bucks. Ribbon cutting, so that's exciting for the Studio D and some other stuff Diana Scott is doing at the airport. And then my other buck is for a reminder, Thursday, 5 to 6:30, Chamber of Commerce Business After Hours here at Pearl City Hops. It's going to be a great time. 2 free attendees per chamber member. If you're not a member, register as a guest. We'd be happy to have you to check it out and see what we're all about. So hope to do that.
My happy buck is for the Women's Club of Lakewood. They are celebrating their 75th anniversary with a reception on April 13th from 4:30 to 6 p.m. at the Lakewood Library. And this is for my father's mother, Margaret Rule, who was one of the founding members of both the library and Women's Club.
It is my pleasure to welcome Vince Horgan, our speaker.
Thanks, John. I'm excited about today's speaker. It's on everybody's mind, huh? Randall Perry, the Executive Director of the Chautauqua Lake and Watershed Management Alliance. He works on a big variety of lake, watershed, and research initiatives in partnership with the Alliance members and stakeholders in protecting and enhancing the health and usability of Chautauqua Lake. Prior to beginning his tenure as the Executive Director, he worked as the Alliance's project manager. Can they hear me? We good? We think? I'll continue for now. Before joining the Alliance, he served as an adjunct instructor at Fredonia State University, teaching geoscience and environmental science courses with a focus on water resources, geochemistry, surficial processes, and environmental assessment. Before that, he worked as a geological consultant specializing in environment and water resource projects. He's a native of Maine. He earned his BS and MS in Earth Sciences from the University of Maine with a focus on environmental geochemistry. He's also a proud service member of the United States Marine Corps. Please welcome Randall Perry.
Thank you very much, Vince, and thank you, Tori, for your very kind words. Hopefully I'm efficient enough with my time today. So Vince said I had an hour. Well, thank you everyone for inviting me here and allowing me to speak with you about Chautauqua Lake and its watershed and share with you a little bit about my organization and the great work that our membership and our stakeholders do on the lake and the watershed every day. So thanks for that opportunity. So just a little bit about who the Alliance is. We are a 501c3 nonprofit member organization. Member organization is a key term with the Alliance because we're constituted of over 30 founding members from our formation in 2015 and over 20 current members consisting of lake and watershed groups, governments bounding the lake, the lakes and villages, the towns and villages that bound Chautauqua Lake, the county government, and many other business, foundation, and other groups interested in the health and usability of Chautauqua Lake. We evolved in 2014 from what was known as the Chautauqua Lake Management Commission. And we are established for the benefit of the entire lake and its watershed and all of its stakeholders, which number many, as many of you know,
We spend time on the lake, and we all enjoy it in different ways. And that leads to a very fulfilling and challenging job. Our mission is it's to collaborate. It's to collaborate with all these wonderful lake and watershed organizations and other stakeholders, trying to channel our positive attributes and productive ways to help the lake and those who use it, not just people, but those ecological and environmental factors that also make Chautauqua Lake so special. We do that by promoting and facilitating the implementation of projects that aim to help the lake and the watershed. And with the resources that are finite in this world and in this region, the resources for things like lake and watershed management are finite as well. So trying to solicit, prioritize projects from those who are out there in the field or out there in the boardrooms or the municipal buildings around the lake, bringing proposals forward to help the lake and the watershed. One of the Alliance's jobs is to help to review and prioritize those opportunities and try to align funding and resources in a good, positive way, much of which is done through the generosity of folks like Tory and other charitable foundations around the region, the county Chautauqua government and the town and village governments around the lake as well, along with all the major fundraising that our member organizations do, whether it's the Chautauqua Lake Association, the Chautauqua Watershed Conservancy, Chautauqua Lake Partnership, and others like that, who are going out and bringing resources in to help the lake and the watershed as well. This is a list of our members. Many people, many groups doing a lot of hard work on the lake and in the watershed. I get to be here today because of the work that these groups do and their staff and their boards and their members, their volunteers. So thank you to them as I get to share a lot of great work that's being done. Our structure, we have a board of directors of 9 volunteers from across a very nice cross section of leaders from county government, municipal governments, and our membership. So 9 folks currently consist of our board, our chairman, Bruce Erickson, and each board member comes from a home member organization. That's how we're structured. So our leadership at the board level is representative of our membership. Those members who I named on the prior slide, we've got committees of volunteers working in lake management, watershed management, and data analysis and research. And I want to thank my staff, Taylor West and Jay Young, who do great work for our organization. And Vince invited them to lunch, but we had other things we had to take care of down in the office, so he got stuck with just me. But they're great folks, and they do a lot of great work. So I just want to make sure I'm give them a nod. Again, our work. I get to share the words, but it comes from a lot of work from a lot of people. So thank you. Funding, I want to put the acknowledgements. A lot of times they get at the end when I might have the hook around my neck already. So, things I'm going to talk about, just can't say thank you enough to those who make it possible with the generous financial and other support to make these things happen. The vision dating back decades to caring about this lake and the watershed and the people and the animals and the organisms that make it up. These are just, this is just a great list that shows how many it takes to do this type of work. So thank you. Why are we here? We all enjoy Chautauqua Lake differently. It's a wonderful lake, both in the natural setting, but also in the human use side. It's an economic driver for our region. It's a cultural hub. It's a recreational hub. It's an economic hub, driving jobs and enjoyment and people coming to make Chautauqua their home, whether it's their first, second, third, or home. It brings a lot of different people here for a lot of different reasons. It's a wonderful fishery, very, very supportive of a very nice array of environmental and ecological resources as well that do a lot for our economy in ways that we don't always see every day, whether it's filtering the water that flows through the watershed into the lake and then is drawn for drinking by
those at the institution up, or the northern basin of the lake. We're driving those wonderful fisheries that bring in anglers from not just around the corner, but from around the world. So it's a big lake, 13,000 acres with about 100,000 acres of watershed draining it. We've got two basins, each of which are unique in their own ways, unique in terms of their characteristics, but also in the way that people live around them and interact with them on a daily basis. So, and we're pretty shallow relative to whether it's the Finger Lakes or Lake George or other lakes around the state. You know, we're a pretty shallow lake, which can be really, really good, but also really, really challenging when it comes to you know, productivity and the way that the lake handles the types of things that we're sending it from our use of the watershed. You know, whether it's nuisance aquatic plant growth, both native and invasive plants, algal issues. Algae are the backbone of our ecosystem, but when they're present in the wrong recipe, or you know, whether it's too high a concentration or the types that produce toxins capable of causing harm to people and pets and organisms, those are among some of our biggest challenges on the lake. You know, and trying to continue to get a handle on what are the drivers of these issues. What are the drivers so that we can then you know, manage in a more comprehensive way, not just the symptoms of what we see on the lake the day that we go out, but also the long-term, decades-long drivers of those things, whether it's stormwater management or runoff from the watershed of nitrogen and phosphorus and other things that, again, present in the right quantities, in the right balance are the critical things that make an ecosystem, but they cause you know, conflicts with the way that we use the lake and enjoy the lake. Other things like flooding, other pollutants such as road salt, etc. So having a long list is, you know, it's why I get to be here talking to you, but also, you know, it's a complex system. So there's a lot of different ways that we need to look at, not just, hey, what's working well in this lake and what do we want more of, or what do we want to enhance and encourage, versus what's an opportunity for improvement. So at the Alliance and elsewhere, whether it's Alliance partnered projects or projects led by other lake stakeholders, municipalities, we work in the lake, we work in the watershed, and we work on keeping an eye on things through monitoring and research to try to evaluate status, patterns, relationships amongst interventions and conditions. And it's a long list of project types, and each year there's a different balance, a different blend, driven oftentimes by opportunity for whether it's funding or interest or feasibility. So trying to be ready to strike at whatever opportunities come our way is an important element to lake and watershed management. And these are a blend of short, medium, and long-term investments, whether it's the day-to-day lake maintenance or the longer-term investments in watershed protection that help to pay off over decades of reducing sediment, reducing nutrient runoff to the lake, and then keeping an eye on things and trying to guide and more effectively informed management is things like good data collection, good data management, good data analysis. And that too takes a team of very talented individuals and groups, you know, working on that as well. You know, since 2015, when the Alliance got underway, we've been very, very proud to partner on over $10 million and over 100 different initiatives aimed at the improvement of the lake and the watershed. That's a blend of state, local, and other outside dollars. And again, blending lake, watershed, and research and monitoring. You can see that pie chart shows, you know, roughly we're at about a 60-40 split when it comes to watershed investments to lake investments, and then the remaining balance on research and monitoring initiatives. There's many things that aren't on this chart. There's many millions of dollars being invested right now in better public wastewater infrastructure, which is a huge component of the way our lake and our watershed you know, are managed. There's other initiatives being led by the Soil and Water Conservation District, which would be included in these figures. They're doing great work with agricultural and other non-point source runoff issues, not just in our county or not just in our watershed, but all over the county. So, kudos to them and those other groups that are out there doing the work. So it's likely. Last year, 2022 saw a massive investment of resources and work by a variety of groups on the lake. Prioritizing lake-wide service, working together, putting equipment and groups together where feasible to do more with the resources that we're able to direct towards them. Got to work on the lake as early as May and went all the way through the month of September with plant management, mechanical harvesting and cutting and collecting of those plant fragments in nuisance growth areas, shoreline cleanup using a variety of mechanized and manual efforts, chemical management under New York State DEC permits to target 2 invasive species on the lake, curlew pondweed and Eurasian water milfoil. And then additionally, those plant surveys that are so critical in understanding not just today's conditions, but looking back and ahead as we try to better understand this lake and manage more efficiently and more effectively as a team. Using technology to track the work that we're doing so we can create an archive, which again helps to align those conditions and management actions in a meaningful way. And continuing to look at what we can do better, whether it's equipment that's needed, either types or amounts of equipment, the types of methods we use as a collective group of stakeholders and the needs of the lake users and of the lake itself. New invasive species are a critical element. So a lot of the capital that goes into the lake every year is to manage the kind of big species, the ones that grow, relatively widely across the lake. A lot of the things that you interact with, whether you're a boater or a swimmer, the big groups of plant species they've been established in this lake for quite a while, and we're in a long-term management zone. But there's several species that aren't here in full force that we're also trying to work hard to keep from getting to a level that they then have to be heavily managed in the future. So things like hydrilla, water chestnut, starry stonewort. These are all species that hopefully not many of you have heard of because they aren't here yet, but they're the types of things that we're trying to keep out through prevention with watercraft stewards, trying to check to see that we're keeping our invasives in our lake and not going somewhere else and vice versa. No new ones coming in and taking up space in our lake as well. Early detection is critical. Getting out there and looking for these new species and trying to deal with them while they're small is very, very cost effective and it's much less impactful when it comes to the ecosystem. The fewer plants that you need to manage in a heavy-handed way is better for the ecosystem. So it's a good that little bullet. One of these plants, a water chestnut plant, one of these plants, can produce many seeds, and each of those seeds can produce many new plants. So there's sort of this exponential growth possibility for some of these plant species that can get in and make things much more difficult than they currently are. So we're trying not to make any extra work for ourselves by being proactive and prioritizing these modest investments now to try to keep from having to make bigger investments in the future. I think back one, but I'm going to try to go quickly. Those watershed projects, we've got 3 great projects, just Alliance partner projects that are going on right now. The town of Chautauqua is working on a major swale stabilization, so roadside ditches, trying to stabilize and improve those so they're better at filtering and containing stormwater to try to reduce those sediment and nutrient loads to the lake. The town of North Harmony is working in the Ball Creek tributary, again, trying to arrest certain areas of erosion that are running into the lake and causing issues such as in Hadley Bay and other parts of the lake in that area. And then the village of Lakewood's got a major stormwater management project that's ongoing down near the Grandview area, which is going to result in around 100,000 cubic feet of detention. So not keeping it all to ourselves. We don't want to keep it all. We want to let it back into the lake. That's the way this thing works. But trying to minimize those peak flows, try to reduce the flooding, trying to reduce those high energy runoff events that can wreak a lot of havoc when it comes to mobilizing sediment and nutrients. So just want to commend those municipalities for their leadership and their vision. And again, trying to use as many small local investments to leverage larger state grants is one of our biggest areas of opportunity, taking these match dollars and turning them into more dollars, taking one local dollar and turning it into 3 or 4 state dollars and bringing that in and putting it to work in the watershed and the lake is really important. Next slide, please. The data, really trying to take a variety of data and take advantage of technology to try to drive this uncertainty down. You're never ever going to remove your uncertainty in the system. You can only reduce it. So trying to reduce it, the key areas to help us to make better data informed decisions is important. Next slide, please. If you're interested in learning more about the research side, there is a lot going on. If you visit our website, the Alliance website, there's links to past research panels that have been hosted on Chautauqua Lake in the last few years. And also coming up, the Chautauqua Institution is planning to host another lake conference in June. So keep your ears open for that if that's something you're interested in. And, a lot of groups that are working with very, very smart, very, very talented, very, very invested people, is great for this lake. And we're just on the cusp of really seeing this stuff get put to work, because we brought a lot online just in the last handful of years, 3 to 5 years. And, having a couple of years of data is oftentimes that trigger for when you can really start to take it to the next level. So excited for that. And I encourage you to check out our website. Our communications coordinator, Jay Young, and before him, our project manager, Taylor West, they've done a lot of work on the website, putting information out there, on our ongoing work, but also past work and links to resources about the lake. And also I'd encourage you, our members have wonderful websites, whether it's the Chautauqua Watershed Conservancy or the Chautauqua Lake Association. They've got a lot of information about how you can get involved at their level and see what they're up to. And we look forward to just continuing to work in that partnership towards, helping this lake and helping the communities that it supports. So apologize if I went a little bit long, but I'm happy to answer questions if allowed.
So how much of your job is like herding cats? It's like mediation. It's all the list of participants there. They don't often share the same philosophies. And I've had disagreements with one or the other. So have you heard those?
Well, when you mix people and resources that support not just our generation, but generations in the past and generations in the future, there's a lot of, for lack of a better term, baggage that gets attached to that, whether it's organizational identity or generational identity. It's a real challenge in trying to channel those passions and those priorities of each individual or each group and trying to accentuate the positives and try to minimize the moving backwards that sometimes the friction can bring with it. It's real tough, and I don't have a perfect answer because frankly it's still very much a work in progress. Just in the last 3 to 5 years, we've taken major steps in being able to consolidate a lot of the dollars that are being put into the lake and the watershed. And I think that's, while it has in some cases concentrated some of the friction because it's more in one place than maybe spread out, I think it's still a really important step forward because you're able to better look at the total picture as much as possible. And the picture is still coming into focus, but I think the more we can look at it comprehensively and to be able to sort of lay out the chessboard a little bit for each member to see, what they have to work with, what So again, trying to tap the good, try to keep the less productive stuff on the sidelines as much as possible is good. Thanks for the question.
Thank you for the very informed information and a good thought for the futures. I just have two thoughts on that. One is a property owner on Chautauqua Lake prior to and existing the sewer. Thank you for that sewer system around our lakes. And maybe the question I have, and I think I've heard it read some time ago, that either Vince could respond to or you, but I understand that about 48% of the total taxes of Chautauqua County come from properties around the lakes in our county. Is that not true, Vince?
Yeah, but it's a very high percentage comes from a very small amount of property, so it is significant. No, I just say that the percentage of property is of property taxes, like 80% comes within the 16%, but it's very high. And of course, we all know the economic involvement of properties around the lake, whether it's hotels, whether it's businesses, whatever it is significant. So that's the nature of it. The trouble is, if you live on the North County around Lake Erie or whatever, you say, well, wait a minute, so do we, but it's still a major portion of what we deal with.
First of all, I just want to welcome a fellow Mainer. I lived in Maine for 25 years and went to great school. So glad that you're bringing those skills and talents here to Chicago County. Maine has, as you know, some of the most beautiful and cleanest lakes. So I'm looking forward to seeing Chautauqua Lake look like Sebago Lake. So you got a real challenge.
Yeah, Maine with its about 1.5 million people spread out over a big area. So, but I thank you for that. And you're absolutely right. It's a beautiful place, and so is this.
Where does the Alliance stand on the spraying of weeds in the lake?
Well, several of our members, municipalities around the lake, they ultimately hold the driving card when it comes to chemical management in the lake. So the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation has a permitting process where proposals are received and they review data and information about the lake, not just the plants, but also the organisms that rely on those plants or that lake water. And they make decisions on permitting, whether or not they're issued. Over the last about 5 years, they've issued permits pretty consistently for relatively modest numbers of acres about our littoral zone. The littoral zone, which is that area that grows plants, is about 4,000 acres of that 13,000 acre lake. And generally speaking, anywhere from under 100 up to around 500 or so acres has been permitted over the years, each year. The way the Alliance has operated in the past is that, and this year is, I'll use this year as an example, and last year, monies are made available to our members for that type of work, contingent on the DEC permitting that work. That basically is the DEC sets the scope of work for that type of action. So it's ultimately up to the Department of Environmental Conservation as to whether it's appropriate, where it's appropriate, when it's appropriate, and also how it balances with the other either lake uses or management programs that are also in place. So, great question.
Does anyone on Zoom want to ask a question? If so, unmute yourself.
your comment about the chemicals and that we put into the lake to try to control the leaks. So just within the last 4 or 5 days, I've noticed the little yellow flags in my neighborhood, which I live on the lake in Lakewood. And it's always amazing to me the disconnect between property owners who spend their good money and efforts in enhancing their lawn without realizing that every time that rains and it goes right into the lake. And I'm just thinking, how can we as a community help change that mindset of prohibiting the application of chemicals on the lawns?
Well, on the topic of learning more about it or going for information, one of our members, the Chautauqua Watershed Conservancy, they run a program that's running right now where they can put people in contact with either their professional staff to go over options or putting information out on their website or in your hands. So anybody that's interested in learning more about that topic, the Chautauqua Watershed Conservancy would be a great place to start. In terms of rules and laws, the Alliance is not a governmental body. The Alliance does not pass legislation or enforce the laws of the land. So whether it's local or state governments, those would be the New York State DEC would be a great place to look for more of that information about what's, because there's been several steps forward. There's been limitations on phosphate in certain types of lawn additives over the years. So there's evidence of or track record of certain types of legislation blended with the things that people do on their own properties and within their own jurisdictional boundaries. So it's a great topic because you're absolutely right. What is on our watershed is what ultimately ends up in the lake, both good, bad, and confusing. So, there's a lot to it. And on the sewer point that you brought up, sir, if anybody's not aware of the west side sewer extension that's going on, being led by the county sewer districts, the county of Chautauqua, and work in the town of North Harmony, and soon to be working in the town of Chautauqua. That's going to be a major step forward. That's going to take, in essence, 500 feet of 394 and 430 on the other side. That's going to be major. It's going to take a lot of septic systems offline. It's going to put it and take that waste. It's going to take it down to Celeron for proper treatment, which is going to be a big improvement for the discharges that are going into the lake. Even from well-functioning and well-intended sewer septic systems, it's a challenge to treat water, in a way that relies on groundwater and gravity drainage and filtration in a very narrow band of land. So having that public system is going to be great. And I can take almost no credit for it, but I'm happy to tout it as one of the great projects that collectively this group of governments and stakeholders has made a priority for the league.
Thank you, Randall, for that great presentation. One of Rotary's major international programs is eradicate polio in the world. In honor and thanks for your presentation today, our Rotary Club will make a donation in your name that will vaccinate 4 children who will never experience polio in their life. Remembering this year's Rotary International theme, Imagine Rotary. Thank you. We are adjourned.